African youth are very angry with ECOWAS for being a Western puppet and trying to interfere in African countries' internal matters. Among the member countries in ECOWAS, Nigeria seems to surpass all limits in becoming a lapdog of its puppet masters in the West. Even if everyone was angry, the officials of other African countries stayed silent and did not criticize ECOWAS. However, Ghana's MP Sam George broke the silence and spoke about what ECOWAS and Nigerian President Tinubu wanted to do. He gave them a good beating, calling them Western puppets. Not only that, but he said that if ECOWAS interfered, African countries would do something which would surprise not only the West, but its lapdogs in Africa. What did he really say, and what ECOWAS is now thinking after this warning? Let's find that out and know the whole matter. During an interview with the local media house, Ghana's famous member of parliament, Sam George, candidly exposed ECOWAS and especially Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said that it's over for the West to interfere in African nations. However, organizations like ECOWAS are becoming an instrument to be abused by the West. One of the puppets is Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been asked secretly by France to invade Niger. Yes, all the matter is focused on what's happening in Niger, as it's the country which is being referred to as the graveyard of the French Empire. If France loses Niger, it will lose every other country in Africa. Not only that, but France gets uranium from Niger, something it needs desperately to fulfill its energy demands. Therefore, to reverse the coup in Niger, France is pushing ECOWAS to go for a military intervention in Niger. For this purpose, the Nigerian president is being used as a focal person because he is an easy person to turn into a puppet. That's the reason he wrote a letter to the Nigerian Senate, asking for permission for a full-scale military intervention in Niger. But why? Well, there is no other goal in it than securing French interests. However, he was shown the right path by the Nigerian Senate. Sam George said that he saluted the Senate for telling the Nigerian president that he should focus on what's happening inside Nigeria, not what's happening in Niger. Sam George said that in Nigeria, there is a certain time you can go out, because if you go after that time, you can be robbed and mugged. But the Nigerian president is perhaps living in a different Nigeria. Instead of focusing on the internal matters and problems, for him, the priority is to invade Niger. It's because that's the order from his colonial master. Before we tell you about Sam George's personality, the reality of the Nigerian president, and why ECOWAS was established in the first place, let's know more about what Sam George said. He said that people are waking up, so ECOWAS has to think many times before it makes any decision. It's because if it sides with the West and invades Niger, it will regret this in the future. He clearly said that the security pact between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger will ensure no intervention is possible. This security pact says that if any of these three countries are attacked, the militaries of the three countries will collectively declare war and fight the invader. Sam George said that the world should better understand that African people and countries are capable of managing their own affairs. Neither the West nor its tools like ECOWAS or the Nigerian president should engage in willful thinking that their intervention will be accepted and will not be resisted. But who is this man, Sam George? Well, he is a member of Ghana's parliament and one of the few African lawmakers who have been vocal about Western exploitation and ideological experiments in Africa. Sam Nardi. George was born in Somanya, in Ghana's eastern region. He earned his bachelor's degree in agricultural engineering from KNUST and a law degree from the University of London. He holds an executive master's degree in conflict, peace, and security from the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. In his professional career, Sam Nardi George served as the assistant director at the Office of the Head of Civil Service from 2010 to 2014. He later worked as a communications specialist at the Office of the President from 2014 to 2016. Sam George achieved a significant political milestone in 2015 when he won the NDC primaries for the Ningo Prampram constituency, toppling the incumbent Enoch Te Mensah. He continued to make his mark in politics by securing victory in the 2020 election, winning the Ningo Prampram constituency parliamentary elections with 63% of the vote. In an outstanding achievement, Sam George was retained as the National Democratic Congress parliamentary representative for the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram constituency in the 2023 NDC primaries for the 2024 parliamentary elections. Currently, Sam George serves as a member of both the Public Accounts Committee and the Communications Committee. He has been critical of the Western ideologies that are creating problems in Africa. That's why he is famous for his anti-LGBTI views and has publicly described homosexuality as a perversion. In 2021, he, along with other members of parliament, proposed a law criminalizing homosexuality. But why is he criticizing ECOWAS and the Nigerian president? To understand that, you have to know what ECOWAS really is. The Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, stands as a regional political and economic union containing 15 countries in West Africa. These nations collectively span an impressive 5,162 square kilometers and boasted an estimated population exceeding 387 million in 2019. However, even if this organization might seem phenomenal, many argue that it was created to keep the French influence intact in the Sahel region. ECOWAS holds a distinguished status as one of the prominent regional blocs within the broader African economic community that spans the entire continent. Its central aim revolves around attaining collective self-sufficiency among its member states by forging a unified and expansive trade bloc while establishing a comprehensive economic and trading union. Yes, economic cooperation is the only goal, not military intervention or any type of security activity. You should know that ECOWAS contains 15 member states, including 8 that predominantly speak French, 5 where English is the primary language, and 2 where Portuguese holds sway. In other words, it's an organization of African nations that were earlier colonized. Notably, all the existing members joined as founding members in May 1975, except for Cape Verde, which became part of the Union in 1977. It's worth mentioning that Mauritania, an Arabic-speaking nation, and one of the original members, chose to withdraw in December 2000, but later re-established an associate membership agreement in August 2017. In 2021, ECOWAS suspended Mali after it experienced its second military coup within 9 months. Guinea confronted a similar fate in 2021 after a military coup, leading to the imposition of sanctions. Burkina Faso also found itself under suspension from ECOWAS in 2022 due to a military coup. Niger faced suspension after a coup d'etat in 2023, and the potential of military intervention to reinstate the deposed president loomed on the horizon. Doesn't it sound ridiculous? How can an economic alliance suspend membership based on political grounds? After knowing this, you can clearly see that military intervention is not ECOWAS's job. Rather, it was only created for economic cooperation, as its name says. Well, the idea of military intervention has been given by France, which is trying to make this organization a military one. This could be only done if the members of ECOWAS could be manipulated for a military intervention. This was done by picking a Nigerian president, the right man to be bought and used as a puppet. Without making it difficult to understand, you can simply see and understand why he is supporting what France wants. Why is he ignoring the political, economic, and security problems within Nigeria and focusing on Niger's coup? Things become quite simple when you analyze why he is the only African president pushing for a military intervention in Niger. Since African countries are getting their true independence as we see in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Gabon, France is trying to cling to power in Africa. Therefore, whatever France does for Africa now should be considered an act to regain its influence. And if someone in Africa is aligning with French demands, it means that the deal has been done between them. In this regard, both ECOWAS and the Nigerian president are advocating for things which France wants. That's the very reason France is supporting ECOWAS. France announced its support for ECOWAS intervention in Niger, backing efforts to overturn the recent military coup. ECOWAS has gone so far that the defense chiefs of the Economic Community of West African States have formulated a plan for military action if the coup leaders fail to reinstate the elected President Mohamed Bazoum. However, Niger's General Abdourahmane Tiani, the 59-year-old coup leader, has expressed the junta's determination not to yield. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. France, as the former colonial power, affirmed its unflagging support for ECOWAS's efforts to thwart the coup attempt. However, it did not specify whether this support would involve military assistance for an ECOWAS intervention in Niger. You see, France is playing at the back end, using African countries to fight Niger, which is also an African country. That has been a strategy of colonial powers which lasts to this day. The intervention plan entails that the decision on when and where to take action will be made by the heads of state, as conveyed by Abdel Fattah Moussa, ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace, and Security. The timeline for intervention and the specifics of the plan remain undisclosed. To garner additional backing for any potential military action, an ECOWAS delegation was visiting Algeria and Libya, engaging with key regional players over the weekend. The primary regional bloc in West Africa has set a specific date for a potential military intervention aimed at restoring democracy in Niger, following the recent coup in which a group of generals ousted and detained President Mohamed Bazoum. The Economic Community of West African States reached an agreement to activate a standby force as a last resort if diplomatic efforts prove unsuccessful. However, the exact timing of this action was not disclosed. Abdel Fattah Moussa, ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, expressed the organization's readiness during the conclusion of a two-day meeting of West African Army chiefs in Accra, Ghana. He mentioned that they have already selected the D-Day and have fine-tuned the necessary requirements for the intervention. Nevertheless, ECOWAS is still committed to seeking peaceful engagement with the military leaders in Niger. Moussa emphasized, "As we speak, we are still preparing for a mediation mission to the country, so we have not closed any doors." The defense chiefs gathered to refine the details of a potential military operation to reinstate President Bazoum if the ongoing negotiations with the coup leaders prove fruitless. Moussa emphasized, "Let there be no doubt that if all other options fail, the courageous forces of West Africa, both military and civilian components, are ready to respond to the call of duty." Most of ECOWAS's 15 member states are willing to contribute to the joint force, with the exception of Cape Verde and countries also under military rule, namely Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, as per an official from the bloc. By this, you can understand that most civilian presidents and leaders are Western puppets. Out of them, the Nigerian president is in the top position. This works as a litmus test to find who is actually loyal to Africa and France. However, a potential military intervention by ECOWAS against Niger's coup leaders faces numerous political and legal obstacles before it can be put into action. This includes the need for approval by the parliaments and legislative bodies of participating West African states, some of which, including the regional powerhouse Nigeria, have already expressed opposition to military action. Mutaru Mumuni, the executive director at the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism, observed that ECOWAS appears to be sending mixed signals regarding its approach to the situation in Niger. While the bloc has emphasized that military action is a last resort, it also seems focused on military intervention, which may not be well received. Mumuni added, "There isn't any support within the local community for war or military intervention in Niger. ECOWAS has faced challenges in preventing coups in the region, and Niger's coup has been viewed as a turning point. The bloc has imposed substantial economic and travel sanctions, but as negotiations stall, the military leaders in Niger are solidifying their hold on power, leaving ECOWAS with limited options. It appears that the reason why France had established ECOWAS is not materializing. More coups are being seen and France stands desperate. Therefore, without caring about what the world will say, it is openly supporting ECOWAS's plan for military intervention in Niger. It's because this plan isn't ECOWAS' own. Rather, it was implicitly given by France. Even if a military intervention in Niger is not possible, the military leaders in Niger have issued orders for the armed forces to be on maximum alert due to an increased threat of attack. ECOWAS, the main West African bloc, has been engaged in negotiations with the leaders of the coup that occurred on July 26. However, they have stated their readiness to deploy troops to restore constitutional order if diplomatic efforts prove ineffective. An internal document from ECOWAS's defense chief cited the need for maximum readiness to respond effectively to potential threats and avoid a surprise attack. It noted that threats of aggression to the national territory are on the rise. ECOWAS, on the other hand, downplayed this threat and emphasized its commitment to accommodating diplomatic efforts, although military intervention remains an option. ECOWAS Commission President Omar Aliou Touré stated, "For the avoidance of doubt, let me state unequivocally that ECOWAS has neither declared war on the people of Niger, nor is there a plan, as it is being purported, to invade the country." The activation of a standby force by ECOWAS in August for a possible intervention has raised concerns of escalating tensions that could further destabilize the already tumultuous Sahel region. In the capital city of Niamey, thousands of people rallied in support of the military leaders responsible for last month's coup. The stadium was two-thirds full, with attendees hearing speeches from military and coup leaders. The rally demonstrated support for the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, which took power after the overthrow of President Mohamed Bazoum's government on July 26. The CNSP, led by General Abdourahmane Chiani, has focused its criticism on former colonial power France. The tension between Niger and France escalated when the country's foreign ministry demanded the French ambassador's departure, citing the refusal to meet with the new rulers and actions contrary to Niger's interests. Afterward, not only the French ambassador but French troops were announced to be withdrawn within no time by France. It appears that France does not want to look bad and evil in this situation. It is appearing as a peacemaker, a country that is supporting ECOWAS, an organization of African countries. The African leaders must understand that they should stop getting used by France and Western powers anymore. No matter whether there is a military intervention in Niger or not, strategies to avoid that have been put in place already. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, three nations in West Africa's Sahel region currently under military rule, have signed a security pact. This agreement commits them to support each other in the event of rebellion or external aggression. The most recent coup in Niger further deepened divisions between these countries and the regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, which has threatened to use force to restore constitutional rule in Niger. To balance this threat, these three countries have created a pact of their own, which is more powerful than any other. Mali and Burkina Faso have pledged to assist Niger in case of an attack. According to the charter of the pact, known as the Alliance of Sahel States, any attack on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of one or more contracted parties will be considered an aggression against the other parties. The pact allows for individual or collective assistance, including the use of armed force. Mali junta leader Assimi Goïta announced the establishment of the Alliance of Sahel States on social media, stating that it aims to create a collective defense and mutual assistance framework. What do you think? What the awakening African nations should do with ECOWAS to get rid of Western lapdog? Isn't it true that ECOWAS is more like the West-led UN in Africa, which ensures Western interests? Let us know your thoughts on whether Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger should make a pact against ECOWAS and keep it in its place. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.